Helmand Province, located in southern Afghanistan, is known as the birthplace of the Taliban and a region where the group has been highly active. The story takes place one evening in September 2010. Sergeant Dipprasad Pun of the Royal Gurkha Rifles was stationed on duty at a two-story outpost. His platoon operated 2 checkpoints east of a remote village, and this solitary outpost had faced repeated attacks by the Taliban since its establishment. That evening, Sergeant Pun heard a sharp noise coming from the south of the checkpoint. Moments later, he found himself face to face with about 15 Taliban fighters. Gunfire erupted and explosions began to rock the area. In the chaos of battle, Sergeant Pun's rifle suddenly jammed and stopped working. Reacting quickly, he grabbed the tripod of the machine gun next to him and struck one of the Taliban fighters who was climbing the wall. As he fought back, he shouted, "Today, you are going to die." Hello and welcome to our new episode of Some Stories. We bring you stories based on true events, stories that touch your heart, evoke love, astonish you, make you cry, inspire you, and sometimes even make you angry. In today's episode, we'll hear the story of the bravery of a Nepalese Gurkha soldier serving in Afghanistan, a story that brought honor and recognition to Nepal and its people worldwide, and the story that gives chills to all. Today, we'll share the tale of the courageous Sergeant Dipprasad Pun. While researching, some details might have been missed. If you have any additional information, please feel free to share with the chat in the comment section below. If topics like violence, conflict, or battles affect you, this video may not be suitable for you. Please feel free to skip it. Before we begin the story, we have a small request. Please click the bell icon and don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Your support helps this channel grow and reach more viewers. Now, let's dive into today's story. If someone says they are not afraid to die, they are either lying or they are a Gurkha. This famous quote comes from Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, also known as Sam Bahadur. Nepalese Gurkhas are globally renowned for their bravery and unwavering loyalty to the British Crown. Their reputation began during the British Empire when commanders were deeply impressed by the courage and valor of Nepalese Gurkhas. Prince Harry himself spent 10 weeks with the Gurkha battalion in Afghanistan, participating in their daily lives and missions, which highlights the close relationship and mutual respect between British and Gurkha soldiers. Over 200,000 Gurkhas risked their lives fighting in both world wars, with 43,000 earning commendations for their heroism and 13 being awarded the prestigious Victoria Cross, the highest military honor in the British Army. Each year, approximately 28,000 young men from the hills of Nepal compete for fewer than 200 spots in the British Gurkhas. The selection process is one of the toughest in the world, featuring rigorous activities like running uphill with a 70-pound bamboo basket on their backs within 40 minutes. Dipprasad Pun from Myagdi district, western central Nepal, joined the British Gurkha Rifles 1st Battalion after competing among thousands of young aspirants. He was deployed to Helmand Province in Afghanistan. By late 2001, Gurkha soldiers, alongside British military forces, began their first major operations in Afghanistan. This was part of Operation Enduring Freedom, led by the United States, aimed at dismantling Al-Qaeda and removing the Taliban from power in response to the September 11th attacks. Dipprasad and other Gurkha soldiers were representing Britain and NATO in Afghanistan. In Helmand Province, their mission was to provide security against Taliban insurgency, support local Afghan forces, and bring stability to Taliban-controlled areas through joint operations with the British military. On that evening in September 2010, only 4 soldiers, including Sergeant Pun, remained at the southern compound of the outpost. Preparations for an upcoming parliamentary election were underway, and Sergeant Pun's platoon had sent out a patrol to secure the road to the east. The remaining 4 soldiers were stationed on duty, taking turns in the single sangar position, an isolated lookout spot located on the roof in the middle of the compound. A single sangar position is a small defensive or observation post designed to protect a lone soldier from enemy fire. It also allows the soldier to observe the surroundings, provide early warnings to their team in case of danger, or engage in defensive actions if necessary. Sergeant Dipprasad Pun was stationed at one such single sangar position on duty during a quiet, dark night. On that quiet, dark night, Sergeant Dipprasad Pun heard a sharp noise coming from the south of the checkpoint. Initially, he thought to himself, perhaps it's just cattle making that noise. However, as the sound continued, his suspicion grew. Observing closely, he saw several Taliban fighters digging near the gate of the checkpoint attempting to plant an IED bomb. Sensing an imminent attack, Sergeant Pun immediately picked up his 2 radios. Using one, he alerted his commander about the threat, and with the other, he called for backup. Despite the tense situation, he maintained control over the circumstances. He then armed himself with his SA-80 rifle and a supply of hand grenades. Seizing the right moment, he threw a grenade toward the enemy fighters. This marked the beginning of an intense confrontation between Sergeant Pun and around 15 Taliban fighters. In the dark of night, the enemy launched attacks from all sides. Rockets, grenades, and gunfire flew in every direction, with bullets whizzing just above Sergeant Pun's head. For over 15 minutes, he single-handedly defended the outpost against the onslaught. According to Sergeant Pun, the firefight lasted nearly 17 minutes. In an interview, he recalled, "At first, I was a bit scared and I thought they were definitely going to kill me, but once I started firing, that fear disappeared." During the battle, Sergeant Pun fired approximately 250 rounds from his GPMG, General Purpose Machine Gun, and emptied 6 magazines from his SA-80 rifle, about 180 rounds in total. In all, he fired over 400 rounds at the attacking Taliban fighters. In addition to the gunfire, he also threw 17 grenades and detonated a claymore mine. His actions were relentless, demonstrating extraordinary courage and resourcefulness in the face of overwhelming odds. Most of the Taliban fighters were firing from the open field, but one of them took advantage of the situation and attempted to scale the compound wall. Sergeant Dipprasad Pun spotted the fighter trying to climb the wall. In an interview, he recalled, "I initially tried to fire my SA-80 rifle at the Taliban fighter climbing the wall, but it didn't work. I wasn't sure if the rifle had jammed or if the magazine was empty. Realizing his weapon was unusable, he threw it to the ground and grabbed a sandbag, intending to use it to strike the intruder. However, the sandbag was untied, and as he lifted it, all the sand spilled out. Without hesitating, Sergeant Pun picked up one of the legs of the tripod from his GPMG General Purpose Machine Gun and used it to strike the Taliban fighter climbing the wall. He shouted at the fighter as he swung the metal rod, 'I'll kill you today.' When the firefight finally ceased, Sergeant Pun felt someone touched his shoulder. Thinking the attack had resumed, he turned around quickly to attack, only to see his commander, Major Sean Chandler, standing behind him. According to Pun, after the battle ended, he was utterly exhausted and collapsed from the sheer effort. Sergeant Pun did not know exactly how many Taliban fighters had attacked him that night. However, he stated that even if 100 of them had come, he would have faced them head-on. The Gurkha soldiers live by the motto, "It is better to die than to be a coward." During the battle, 3 Taliban fighters were killed, while the remaining attackers, unable to withstand Sergeant Pun's bravery, abandoned the fight and fled. For his bravery, Corporal Dipprasad Pun was awarded the Conspicuous Gallantry Cross (CGC). The CGC is a prestigious military honor given by the United Kingdom and Commonwealth nations to military personnel who perform acts of extraordinary courage in the face of the enemy under dangerous conditions. It is considered the second highest military honor after the Victoria Cross in the British Army. Corporal Pun received the CGC for demonstrating exceptional bravery and leadership during a fierce battle at his checkpoint, where he single-handedly fought off a Taliban assault, saving the lives of his 3 comrades and preventing the checkpoint from being overrun. The announcement of Dipprasad Pun receiving the CGC was published in the London Gazette in March 2011. The London Gazette, established in 1665, is an official publication recognized for disseminating legal notices, official declarations, military honors, and corporate actions. The citation accompanying his medal highlighted how he successfully defended his post and saved the lives of his fellow soldiers in a heroic act of valor. At the age of 31, Sergeant Pun, hailing from Bhima, Western Nepal, was awarded the CGC, bringing pride not just to his family, but to all of Nepal. However, Dipprasad is not the only hero in his family to serve in the Gurkha Rifles. His father, Prasad Pun, served in the Indian Gurkha Rifles, though not much is documented about him. If anyone has more information about Prasad Pun, please share it in the comments. Additionally, Dipprasad's grandfather, Tul Bahadur Pun, also served in the British Army's Gurkha Rifles. Remarkably, Tul Bahadur Pun was awarded the Victoria Cross (VC), the highest military decoration for valor in the British Army. We will cover the incredible story of Tul Bahadur Pun (VC) in our upcoming episode. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this story. If you have any feedback, suggestions, or real-life story requests, please let us know in the comments or via email. We will do our best to bring the stories you suggest. Until next time, keep spreading love, listening to some stories, and sharing them. See you soon.